Thank you all very much for joining our February 2025 release day webinar. As most of you know, I'm Kristen Costagliola, CTO here at Syncro, and you might be thinking we're missing a very familiar face. Andy is out at Right of Boom with a number of other members from the Syncro team. So if you or any of your team members are at Right of Boom, head over there, head over to the booth, chat with them, and enjoy the conference. But that's why you're stuck with me as I'm here to be with Dee for the whole release webinar. So really excited to talk about what we can go through today.
Excellent. Thanks, Kristen. Thanks, everyone. I think as you all know, my name is Zepf. I'm Chief Product Officer. Happy to be here for yet another monthly release webinar. As a reminder, just from a housekeeping perspective, if you have questions as Kristen and I walk through the content, please feel free to use the Q&A module. You can chat with folks in the chat, but if you have questions for us and for our team, it'd be super helpful if you just use that Q&A. It will help us just manage the questions and make sure we get to answer as many as we possibly can. And we will definitely have time at the end to go through a bunch of questions. All right, so with that, let's kick it off and talk about what we have released this month. So we'll start with releases, go into early access, and then we'll also share roadmap before we hop into the Q&A. So from a release perspective, we came out with an open beta for the ticket page redesign. So essentially what we've done is we've redesigned the ticket index page, the list of tickets. We've put a setting into ticket settings to allow you to easily turn off or on this new redesign. We've had, hundreds of our partners have turned this on. Some of you have chosen to turn it back off again while we work on some things. A bunch of folks, there are several hundred folks that are still running with it and enjoying it. So I'll talk a little bit about what's in there. And then if you haven't, feel free to check it out. I'll also talk about some of the changes that we're making to that in the upcoming days and maybe weeks. So first, on to what is the redesign? And so I'll call out just a few things that you'll see in the redesign. So first is left-hand panel where you can easily pin your most used ticket views. You can have a list of the other views, easy to go back and forth, kind of in and out of different views. You get a count of how many tickets are in each view right from here. So you don't actually have to click into the view to see how many tickets are available in those views. And you're also able to collapse or expand this ticket view pane. And one of the things that we are working on, we have heard from folks, a couple things, one is you want the ability to size that. And the second is you want the ability for whether you have it collapsed or open to stick with you. Those are on our short list of things that we are investigating to add to this. Next, you can also do inline editing. So whether you're editing a due date, editing the subject, so you can edit inline right here in the view and have those edits just take hold right here without having to hop into the ticket. And so so that's new capability we've added. We've also added color coding. And so there's color coding around priority that we've set for the different priorities of ticket. And then there's color coding around the status as well of different tickets. And you can create your own choices for color codes around status. And you can also assign colors to your custom ticket status as well. And so there's a lot of flexibility if you want to call attention to certain types of tickets or certain status of tickets right here in the view. You could also see we've added this little warning signal. So if you have any tickets that are about to go out of compliance for any reason, you kind of are out of over their due date or anything like that, there's a nice little ability to see that. You can also see if you have something that's a parent-child ticket. And so there are a bunch of different indications in here to kind of just make it a lot clearer what you're seeing in the view. And then finally, we've made the ability to group things in the view a lot more straightforward. And so you can see, you can have different groupings, and then you can see the number of tickets in the total group. You're allowed to now group things that have more than 100 tickets. And so we've really dealt with longer lists of things and that ability to group. So this is all, like I said, out in open beta today. Thank you to everyone who has taken some time to try this and given us feedback on it. We have some updates that we're working on, and you'll see these roll out. I think we're just going to roll them as they're ready. So on any given day, as things get fixed or updated or tweaked. We're going to be rolling these out, so it'll be days and weeks. It won't be months. And so number one, faster performance, especially on scrolling. We've done a bunch of performance work on this, and as we've seen it roll out to more broadly, we know some folks have experienced performance problems, especially around scrolling and scrolling inside of groups or scrolling big lists. And so we're fast at work on performance. And then we're also working on showing selected columns only. We got some feedback where some things weren't sticking if you were saying I do or don't want to see certain columns. And so there were a couple of cases there that we're working on. Column widths, so allowing you to kind of set smaller widths or bigger widths and retain those widths, and then the left panel as well. As I said, we're kind of remembering whether that panel is open or closed, so that when you come back to it, you don't have to continually close it or open it and have it remember your state. So those are all the short list. That's not the complete list. For folks that were officially kind of in our early access, I know you've been going back and forth with Rob on these things. Our team is working really diligently on fixing things and updating them pretty quickly. Right inside the product, lower right-hand corner, there's that question mark. Inside that question mark is product feedback. If you have something little that just bugs you when you're using this, just put it in feedback. You don't need to go through and open a support case or do anything heavy. You can just throw some feedback in there. That feedback's coming right into our team. We're kind of reading it in real time as it comes in. We're passing it into the engineering team. We're figuring out which things we can get done quickly. And we're just going through like some fast iterations on just getting this page from good to great. And so I think you'll see it updating, quickly over time. And so I'm excited to, get some of these updates out there and have even more folks using it and hear from you on what you think of it. All right, so that was out in release. And then Kristen, you want to talk a little bit about some mobile updates?
Yeah, really exciting. We've also released a number of new updates to the Syncro mobile app. The first really large update that is included within this, you can go to the next slide, is at mentions. So at mentions are now supported directly within the mobile app. You can already do this in the web, and now your technicians, if they're on the go, can actually directly at mention another person or to get the notification actually coming back. We also made some big improvements. I know this is something that has come up almost every single webinar we've been on, is the character limit is now removed on the ticket comments within the app. And so you're not limited by that small amount there. You also will see some updates that are happening very shortly. I think they're going to be rolled out this week with some fixes around chats. We know the chats are not updating exactly appropriately, so you should see that roll out and be fixed. And then also the appointment created issues being resolved. We're going to continue seeing updates to the mobile app. So some things you'll see in the future is being able to tap on phone numbers and tap on addresses for your text to be able to use that directly to either make a call or to put into a maps so that they can drive exactly where they need to go. So you'll continue to see updates there, but these are the big ones we released this month.
All right, so we should move in, maybe talk a little bit about a few projects that are in early access right now. And as a reminder to folks for early access, and I believe we'll post the links here for folks that want to sign up. Right in our roadmap on the website are the ability for folks to sign up for early access programs. And we have 3 early access programs that are currently running right now. And Kristen and I will walk through each of them. And if you wanted to go sign up for those, the only thing we ask is if you go sign up, please just make sure you're going to have time to, if you could take a look at the feature and give us some feedback on it. I know sometimes they're busy, and even if you think you're going to have time, you don't, and that's totally fine. But there is some work from our team's perspective to get those enabled, to communicate with you, to bring in that work. And so, if you have time to spare and look at that, we so appreciate your time. So feel free to go and sign up if these are things you are interested in.
First up, we've talked about this, I know last month, but we have done some major end user portal UI UX updates, and this is being rolled out in early access. So we've moved the menu to the left-hand side. There's a number of new, this look and feel of this is really, we're trying to move this forward. You can update your branding, the colors. You can actually control a lot of the things here. You'll be able to roll this out on an individual customer basis, or you can actually roll it out across all of your customers within Syncro. So you have both of the capabilities there, and there'll be a lot of improvements for your end users to actually be able to leverage and they'll be able to do all of the same functionality they were able to do previously in the end user portal, around invoices, payments, tickets, etc. So really looking forward to getting feedback on this and seeing what you all think and what your end users think as well. And then the next project that's up in early access is ticket metric standardization. We've done some updates to our ticket metrics, specifically within the ticket views and across key reports, to ensure that there's consistency and there's a lot better ease of access and understanding. So you can actually sign up for this. We'd really like for people to sign up for this that have looked at kind of the metrics in multiple different places and have some feedback there. And so could really use you to make sure that we've calculated all the things correctly here, that it works properly, and you see consistency across all of your metrics within your views, your reports, et cetera, across the platform.
Great. So third one that's in early access right now is network discovery. Pretty excited about this feature. It's been something that a lot of folks have asked about. Oh, and thank you to everyone that filled out our survey last week that we had out in product. We got several hundred folks responded. I think over 400 folks responded to the survey. So thank you. I know it wasn't short. Network discovery remains something that's incredibly popular on the list of things that people really want to see us invest in. And so we've been working on this feature. It is available for folks on team plan, so it's in early access now. We are going to have 2 phases of network discovery. And once again, these are things that are coming in the near term horizon. These aren't months out. We are like in early access, I think, as of this week, with the first part of network discovery, which is the scan and discover. And so essentially we've added a new tab into the portal called network discovery. Within that tab, you're able to create discovery profiles for your customers, and your customers can have one or more discovery profiles, whether it's you want to do something different networks, different security, different settings. So you create a profile, you say how often you want to scan the network. If you want to run a scan manually, you want to do every certain amount of time, you set up these profiles. We scan the network and bring back for you the list of devices that we've found on the network. You can click into the device and see a bunch of the metadata around that device that's been discovered. And so that is in early access today. And then what's up next for us is we're adding the ability right from here in this metadata to be able to either easily install an agent, if it's something that's appropriate to have a Syncro agent installed, or to be able to easily create an asset and pull that information into the assets. So whether you're, onboarding a new customer, just trying to make sure people aren't kind of putting devices on the network that you're not aware of, and just making sure you have agents installed, or that you're appropriately kind of entering other assets and tracking them, that's all kind of going into this network discovery project. And then from there, for assets that don't have agents, you'll still be able to use our SNMP monitoring to monitor those devices. All right. So that is our early access portion of the program. And like I said, sign up for those is available. So if anyone wants in to see if you're interested to look, I will. We have signups available on our roadmap. All right. Speaking of the roadmap, let's talk about some of the things that are in progress and up next on the roadmap before we move into our Q&A portion of the program. All right. So first, from an in-progress perspective, and I'm not going to talk more about all the things we talked about. So we talked about customer portal design updates. Once again, in early access, super easy for you to be able to configure it if you want, even just for one of your customer accounts. If you just want to see how it works and looks, and you can roll it out kind of as you want. Network discovery, the scan and discover portion of this in early access today. Ticket metric enhancements also in early access today. The next three that are in progress, Windows patching, a contacts redesign, and ticket timer enhancement. I'm going to take a minute to just show you a quick screen of designs in progress for these and work in progress. I'm not going to promise that every single pixel will look the same when it delivers, but I'll give you an idea of what we're working on. So first, the Windows patching dashboard. I think we've talked about this a few times. We are getting closer on this one, and that ability to really easily see, which categories of patches are missing, especially from a server and workstation perspective, kind of at a glance on your dashboard, that ability to look across your whole fleet to see how your Windows patches, where you have things that are failed or waiting on a reboot or pending. And so it's kind of giving you that insight across your fleet so you can get a better handle on patching. So this is work currently in progress by our team. Next up are some ticket timer enhancements, and I'm not going to do all of these justice, but so essentially we've gotten some feedback around kind of actual time, billable time, the way the timer entries are displayed. And so we're making a few changes to make this a lot more readable and a lot more useful for all of you. And Bobby, I know, has been working with a lot of people and having a bunch of conversations to make sure that him and the team are hitting the mark in terms of what you're looking for. So things like total actual time, total billable time, displaying time in a format that you can kind of just eyeball and immediately understand what it means, if you look at hours, minutes, and seconds. And so you can see your current time as well as kind of these totals in an easy to consume way right here in the ticket timer. So some enhancements heading your way there. And then last up is looking at reworking the way we display contacts or end users inside the product. And so I think, as folks know today, our contacts are kind of embedded inside of a screen. There's not really an easy way to do a lot with that information. And you'll see us build in this area and add more things, that the ability to, be able to see all of your end users, to take quick action on them, to maybe take bulk action on them. And so are things we know that people want to do more of. And so our first take at this is at least, turning this into a nice table, having it be easily searchable, having it be sortable, and allowing you to potentially take a couple of quick actions right from here, allowing you to see assets that are associated with those users. And so you'll see us build a lot in this area, but we're just starting with kind of this core redesign to lay the groundwork for this. So work is underway currently to work on this as well. All right. So moving into, so those are all the things that people are writing code on. We're like actively working, and you'll see things coming out from the teams pretty short order, I think, on most of those things, which is exciting. And then we have our kind of up next list, which are things that you might hear from a member of the product team. We're doing some research into. We want to have some exploratory conversations. Our designers are starting to look at like how we might bring these things to life in product, and they're getting ready to move into the coding part of the program. And so one is a unified ticket view. So essentially, this is a view for you to really be able to easily see the tickets that are assigned to you, tickets that are unassigned, and tickets that you subscribe to, all in one easy view. And so that way, we've heard from a lot of folks that that's a set of things that a lot of people really just want to have a quick and easy view to see those three things. And so we're going to pull those together into a unified view. The ability to archive or disable assets. And so that way you can kind of mark an asset as disabled, but still have the historical information for that asset, but not have it get in your way, kind of in your everyday lists and reports and all of that. And so that's something that we have the team working on. Network discovery, I talked about this, the kind of second phase of network discovery around easy install of agents and easy asset creation is up next. As well as some enhancements to our Entra ID sync. So as you can imagine, you look at the user page redesign that's in progress right now, and we'll be looking at kind of making it so that it's a lot clearer how you're syncing up your Entra ID, allowing you to connect, whether it's your individual tenant or your whole CSP, allowing you more granular control over maybe which users are coming into the system. So today, when you link up with Entra ID, you're required to select a department in order to bring those users into the system. We're going to add a lot more flexibility into the types of users that you're able to bring in and sync up in the system as well. Once again, Entra ID Sync has the asterisk, which means it's a team plan feature, as it is today. That's not a change, but we're going to be adding some more capability. We've heard a lot of feedback. I think we have 600 or 700 different partners that are currently using Entra ID Sync. We've had a lot more say they would use it if we had this more flexibility. It provides a lot of great, just great chances to be more efficient if you have this linked up. And so we really want to make sure we get this, working really well and seamlessly together. So that is our roadmap plan. And so I think now maybe I'll stop my screen share, and hopefully, Kristen, as I've been talking away about roadmap, you've grabbed a few questions from our list, and we can maybe start by answering some of the Q&A.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a couple customer portal, end user portal questions, so I'll try to hit two of those. So the first from Peter: is there a view as customer button in our console yet? So we don't have to log in like a customer to see what it looks like. As of now, the answer to that, unfortunately, is no. But it is something that we are looking for. And what we did set it up is so that you can actually set up, because you can roll it out on a single customer basis at a time. What you can do is you can enable it for a test customer for yourself, and so that you could log in, test, make sure all your branding looks right, that you feel good about it before you actually turn it on across all of your customers. So it is something that we are thinking about, though, and actively kind of like looking into. And then the second one was from Al asking, on the end user portal, are there plans to add the ability to add external links? And can we remove items that we don't use in Syncro, such as documentation? So you actually can use external links through the documentation module. If that is something that you would like to do, you can have a number of, you can create a document there that actually links to a number of external resources. I'm not sure if I'm understanding exactly how you want to use the external links, so feel free to reach out or give us a bit more clarifying information. And then you also can turn off items that you don't want to have your end users see through portal permissions. So if you didn't want anyone to see the documentation, you could turn that off in your portal permissions, and then they wouldn't be able to see that that module there.
Great. I'm going to take a few questions I saw come in on network discovery. And so and I see a handful of questions on this, so I'm going to just paraphrase and talk a little bit about, for folks that are not currently on team plan, what are we going to do in order to are we going to do anything to allow people to try out network discovery to see if they want to upgrade? And if they do, can they downgrade? And so I think there are a few options here, and we're working out the finer details of this, but we are going to make it so that it is easy for you to be able to basically try out the team plan in order to basically see network discovery, test it out, use it, and decide if you want to upgrade from there. We will not lock folks into an upgrade in order to do that. If anything, there could, you might have, if you wanted to upgrade, do a monthly upgrade or a trial. Like I said, we're figuring out exactly how we make this work in product. My goal is to make it so that it's a simple button click that you're able to, if you're an admin, you're able to basically say, yes, I want to give this a try. We're going to give you a time period. It will likely be 2 weeks to say, go ahead, try this out for 2 weeks, and then decide if you'd like to upgrade and use it. More to come as we move toward full availability, but that's our plan, is to try to give everyone the opportunity to check it out and just see if it's useful for you. Another question on network discovery. Sorry, there's a lot of those on can we try it? So this is around more of the capability. But basically it's saying, will the device be in discovery and then have to be moved to assets? The person was kind of asking like, how do I deal with duplicates? And I want to make sure I'm not like just kind of creating duplicates. And so yes is the answer. So basically you'll be able to review all the discovered devices and take action right from that list. So whether it's ignoring or removing duplicates, converting just relevant assets, we didn't want to do something kind of automatically for you because we don't want to create a mess for you. So we're going to make it super easy for you to do that level of review and move that. Kristen, if you have another one that you wanted to answer live.
Yes, I do. There was a question on at mentions. Can at mentions show who wrote the message? And the answer to that is yes, it should show up as a normal note kind of within the ticket. You should be able to see who created the comment. And maybe this Tom, so feel free to reach out, Tom, if I'm misunderstanding what your question is, because happy to dig into that. And then the other one was around the Entra ID sync and syncing contacts which are no longer in M365 and flagging them on the Syncro side for deletion, and being able to clean up, multiple contacts and take bulk actions. The answers to both of that is yes. We are working. That is part of this contact user redesign page. Is you'll be able to take bulk actions on a number of users that you weren't able to do before. And we are improving the Entra sync to mark on the Syncro side where users are deleted in Microsoft. And we're actively trying to, so Jake, if you have some specifics on here, please feel free to reach out to us because we'd love to chat with you about it around, do we want to flag them as deleted in Microsoft? Do you still want access to them and have them as an archived contact? How do you want to leverage that data within Syncro? So feel free to reach out. But yes, we will be flagging those and making sure that you can clean them up correctly.
I have a few more. So one from Tom, can we have more color choices for ticket status? And I'll say it's something we could look into, but I wanted to call out the choices that so you can customize them, but there's a list of colors you can choose from in your customization. And the list was cultivated pretty specifically by the design team. And part of it was to make sure that from an accessibility perspective, that the color choices were differentiated enough that people would be able to see the differences in the status choices. And so the team went through and tried to make sure that we picked colors that would work for folks, I believe, that are colorblind and that have different needs as they're looking at that list. And so part of the list that was chosen was based on that, but we could look at adding more if folks feel like they're running out of color choices or don't like them. Another question I got is, if we signed up for network discovery, how do we enable it now that it's available? And so for folks that signed up for the early access, you should be hearing from a member of my team with your access to network discovery. I do think that some folks signed up that are not currently on the team plan. And so we are only doing early access for folks on the team plan. But as I said, once we get out into general availability, we will give everyone the opportunity to try this out if they'd like to try it out. And then there was another question on patching. Will we be able to filter patching by client? Folks want to look at that patching dashboard and look at kind of an individual client so that they can see kind of what's happening for an individual client. The answer is absolutely yes. Everything in that table that you saw on the dashboard is going to be sortable as well as filterable. And so you'll have a lot of ability to either sort by client. Maybe you can sort just by missing patches. You can sort just by critical patches. So you'll be able to slice and dice that data to look at it in a bunch of different ways, depending on what you're trying to get done.
All right, I have a couple of questions. Another one from Jake on the Entra ID sync around reporting multiple licenses. And yes, we know this is a limitation of the current sync that it only shows up, I think, the most recent, or it's a comma separated list. And so yes, this is something that we are working on to have all of the licenses be split so that you can see any number of licenses. If you have a user that has Business Premium and Power BI and something else, you should be able to see all of those directly there. And then a second question from Jeff around customer portals. Are they customizable per customer or per access level? Right now, it is a single portal that you can enable on a per customer basis, but you can set up your permission groups and using the view access, like I said before, to kind of suppress certain modules and other things. But yes, it is right now a single portal total and something that we are looking into.
Great. I have a handful of people asking things about branding. And so I will say, like, I'm not going to get into a lot of conversation about I think there's been some back and forth in our communities on our branding. And so I will say that, from a product perspective, you will see some branding updates roll into the product in the next probably week. And what that will look like inside of products for all of you is that a lot of the teal buttons and headers will be changing. They will be changing to light gray and dark gray in most areas. And so what you've seen in the presentation that Kristen and I just gave, those screens, most of them already had the new branding, the new product level of branding in them. I know from a market perspective, we've made really bold and I think, pretty cool, bold, like, marketing kind of go to market branding statements. And inside of product, we've taken a tact of, using a more neutral base and making sure that inside of product, we're really focused on it being a clean design, making sure that the colors are the kind of good everyday working colors, because we know that folks spend hours a day inside the product. And so we're going very light on bold colors, and we're really leaning into a neutral palette, which is a kind of a best practice design practice anyway. So you will see that roll out in product within the next week or so.
There's a question around plans in network discovery to enable ping latency and alerting for non-SNMP assets. We would love to talk to you to get a bit more detail and see if this is something that we can easily support and kind of add it in. So one of the product managers, Lindsay, will be reaching out to get some contact information so that we can move forward on that. And then there was a question around archiving. Can you use the asset archiving feature to do something with machines that haven't been powered on in over a year? The goal of the asset archiving in the future would allow you to put assets in that bucket, yes, that you would consider archived, whether that means they don't exist within your customer base anymore, maybe they haven't been powered on, but then you can run reports, or you can exclude them from reports or of your metrics or certain things that you might want to be looking at. So Jackson, I'm not sure exactly how you would want to use that in the machines, the machines that haven't been powered on, but yes, you could potentially use the archiving feature there to do that.
A couple of questions. So one is, are there any new and more customizable reports on the roadmap? I will say that by like mid to later this year, you will see reporting come into our public roadmap. I think as folks know, I try to make sure that the roadmap really reflects very short-term work and trying to make sure that everything that's on there, you're seeing progress on within like a really short amount of time. And so reporting and making our reporting a lot more flexible is absolutely on our roadmap. There is already, quite honestly, some work behind the scenes around structuring our data to make it so that we're going to be able to more easily do that. It's not a small project, but you will see some of that show up on our roadmap as we get into the middle and back half of the year for sure. The other thing that someone asked, and I'm not sure I'm fully understanding the question, but it's basically saying, would we allow clients to opt in to early access with requirements for feedback? And so and I think this is like basically saying instead of doing, kind of the sign up as we do today and having our product team reach out and do a one-on-one, could we just do something in product? I love that idea. If that's what you're asking, is kind of just to allow you to click and say, yes, I'd love to try early access and have it just turn on automatically for you. And then you can give feedback. It's something I aspire to do. And I'm hoping we get to do that at some point soon. I'm very grateful we have the system we have, at least, so we're able to turn things on and off for small groups of folks and do that. And so we're going to make that even more automated so that we can just allow people to self-serve more and more as we go forward.
Awesome. There is a question around plans to improve ticket automations, conditions for contains text in subject, initial ticket comment, and or operators and conditions. So you could do something like contains this text or that. This is a great thing to add within the feedback within the app. So if you're in the app and you have a good idea for feedback on the product side, please throw it in. This is something we'll add to our list. I know our product team is chatting about it in the background, specifically around this of something that that we would look to add pretty quickly as a small feature.
There are a couple of comments about the new ticket view page and just performance on that page. And I just wanted to reiterate that we are actively working on performance on that page. We know that fast page loads is something that Syncro is historically really great at, and we are going to remain great at that. We are not satisfied with the performance of that page, and we are improving it, and we will not stop until it is fast. And we believe we're going to be able to make those improvements pretty quickly. So yes, we are fully committed to remaining a really high performance platform in terms of page load.
Will you expand the AI issue types or will we be able to add our own? Yes, we actually currently have something in progress to add a bit more on the AI issue types, on some additional like categories, I think if that's what you're asking. If you have feedback on certain categories that you'd like to see, please feel free to reach out. We'd love to be able to, you can put it in the product feedback or something, especially if you have some sample tickets of where they should show up. We would love to be able to continue to expand that and improve it for you.
Great. Someone asked, or Peter asked, any plans for an expanded API? And the answer is yes, we are planning to expand our API. One of the efforts that we've spun up is, we have a team really focused in on a lot of, kind of quality of life improvements, smaller improvements. And one of the things that they're going to be working on are some expansions to the API to add some of the top requested things. Once again, if you're running into something and you're like, oh, I really wish this was in the API or that was in the API, it would really make my life easier, feel free to use that product feedback question mark in the bottom right of the product screen and just kind of type in if you have something on your mind there. It's a great way to get those ideas like directly into product and engineering so that we can prioritize and figure out which ones to do. I will say we are prioritizing for right now. We're prioritizing a lot of things that are going to help us move the needle quickly. And we're trying to get a lot of small things done as we go through the next quarter or two. In addition to some of these bigger projects that we're talking about here, you'll also hear us start to talk about, maybe smaller things that we're doing that are just those things that you're writing in about so that we can make some great progress there.
Awesome. There's a couple of questions on Enter ID Sync. One is that, hey, what is Enter ID Sync used for? Is this customer contacts? Is it Syncro users? How do you use this? So just as a quick basic overall, the Enter ID Sync allows you to sync your customer contacts, your end users from Microsoft into Syncro and allows you to keep them up to date. And so as we're building on and improving this sync, some of our goals will be to add the, deactivate feature or soft delete of contacts. I know that was another question, but it also just allows you to keep as emails change or as information changes within Microsoft, it will auto update within the Syncro platform so that you can keep those systems in sync.
I see a question from Vaughn around visual accessibility options and basically saying that some of the color choices in the UI are challenging. What I'd love to hear, Vaughn, after we roll out our updates, And like I said, the updates will roll in the next week or so, I believe. You'll see we will have removed a lot of the lighter teals, and I believe added a lot more contrast to the colors. The team did go through an accessibility review on our color and font choices as we made decisions of how to roll the new brand into product. We tried to take a really thoughtful approach. And so I'd love to hear from you, maybe in that product feedback or something after these roll out, to see if it feels a lot better, or if there are still places where you feel like we can improve and that we should take a closer look.
There's a question around, are there plans of adding a feature to alert when a specific asset comes back online? Like, hey, this machine is back online now, you can go work on it. This is something we've heard from a number of people, and something that we're exploring on the list. It's not on the immediate list right now, but it is something we've definitely heard loud and clear that people want. And then someone asked, it wouldn't be a monthly webinar without someone on your side confirming that you aren't going to join Kaseya, right? So thought we had to answer that question. As of now, no, there are no plans. I know Michael talked about that in the last webinar as well. That is not on our list. It's not on either D or I's plans as of right now.
All right. I'm seeing a question here about Entra ID and someone wanting to kind of understand benefits of the Entra ID sync. And so I think you'll see more and more of this over time, but folks that are using it, I think the ability to have create your customers in your, end users in one place, have those end users immediately sync over to Syncro. We are looking at making it a lot easier. So if you disable a user on the Microsoft side, you'll be able to at least see that they're disabled on the Syncro side. Once again, associated assets will come over with those users, the ability to take some action on those users. And so I think that you'll see a lot more benefit to having Entra ID synced up with your Syncro users. I don't know, Kristen, if you have anything else to add to that, but those are some of the big ones I can think of.
Yeah, I think those are right. And then all the licensing, I don't know if I heard you say some things around the licensing and billing, syncing that over so you can auto bill for any licensing that exists. There's a question about, where do I go to adjust/upgrade plans? It's in the admin settings. So if you go to admin, I'm gonna do it right now so that I don't tell you the wrong thing. Admin and account settings. You can manage your plan directly there, and that's where you can update, you can change your payment method, you can look at all of your invoices, so you can manage all the things on your account right there.
All right. Jake asked a question about the ticket page itself. So we've been showing the ticket view and some of the work we've done on ticket view. And so basically asking, is there a way to customize or make the ticket page more customizable? I will say that looking at the design of that ticket page and our other individual pages is on our horizon. And we will look to figure out how we might be able to make those more customizable or configurable for folks. We've focused in for right now, as you'll see on the kind of the list view pages. And so we've come up with this, more standard table control that's going to allow for all of these lists of things. It's going to allow a lot of customization of columns. It's going to allow sorting. It's going to allow filtering. It's going to allow inline editing. And so we're really trying to perfect that, make sure it's performant and that it works really well. And then we'll move into doing something similar for the individual pages, where we make it a lot easier to have priority sections. We really think about the layout of those pages and what information you need to be front and center. And so that is something our design team will be tackling as we move through the year.
All right, there's a couple of questions around the asset online indicator within the end user portal, and technicians can see it, but customers cannot. This is not something that's part of the initial release, but is something that we could easily add. And so I'm chatting with product. We're going to look at getting this added in the backlog and seeing what we can do there. So right now for initial release, no, but hopefully we'll see that soon.
I got a question on, are there any plans to add more videos and documentation for how to use product? I think you'll see a lot more of this coming from us. So we have our new documentation center. I guess it's not that new anymore. Docs.syncromsp.com, linked from within the product as well. And in each of those articles, for every new feature we have coming out, we are trying to include at least a short video on how to use it. We're posting these videos as well. We have some new getting started videos. We're going to come out with as well some like tips and tricks, best practices videos. So the team has been really trying to produce a lot more short form content that's really helpful. The Doc Center is fully searchable and well organized, so that has different sections. What we've done is we've taken our old uh, public knowledge base and pulled those articles in. Most of it is rewritten. Some of it has just been imported in so that we could really just start to centralize all that information. But with every release, we're making updates, and we're also trying to update some of the reference documentation and all of that as well, so that we can really get some of the best practices as well as just the basic of how to and how everything works information. Once again, if there's something that you're trying to get done and you're like, oh, like, why is this so hard? Why doesn't the documentation actually explain to me how to do this? Or why isn't there a quick how-to video? Once again, it's a great use of that feedback link to just say, I really wish I had content to tell me I'm trying to get this done. Why can't you just make it easy for me? And so we'd be happy to take a look at any feedback like that and make some quick videos.
There's a question around, is there ever a plan to add indexed search box on the admin settings page? We do have on our plan, right, to redo the admin settings page. It's on our list. We know that there are so many settings in there. I actually was just talking to Dee yesterday about this on some improving the searchability of that page and navigation there. It's not on the exact roadmap right now, but it's on our list. And this is another good thing, just like Dee mentioned, when you're in the app and if you see things like this, and this is something like, oh man, I really would love to be able to search for something specific in the admin settings. Put it in the product feedback, but this is absolutely on our list of things we want to tackle.
Great. I've had a few questions around plans, and do we plan to add another like third tier plan or a lower tiered plan, whether it's for maybe someone who just does billing or different things like that. Right now, there is not a plan to add like a limited user license, but we're open to it and we can, continue to consider that, but it's not in our plans right now.
And then there's a question on Entra. Why are users synced to Syncro? Wouldn't it be better if you created users in Syncro and they got synced to Entra? So yes, we would like to have it be bi-directional. So there's a couple of things. One, when you're onboarding into Syncro, or if you take on a new customer, you don't want to have to manually create all of those users within Syncro and then sync over if it's a tenant that already exists. But one of the improvements that we're trying to make that it won't, I don't think it will be for the initial release, but shortly after the Entra ID sync, as we continue to improve it, is by making it bi-directional so that as a user is updated in Syncro, it can also be updated in Entra. There's reasons for both sides of it, and the users, your actual end users are using Microsoft as kind of the source of truth there. So we want to make sure that that those systems are in sync. But and then our goal will be to help you automate a number of those workflows, just like you've mentioned, so that when you receive a request to create a new user, you can automate some of those steps.
I got a question from anonymous attendee saying the implication of not adding more ACH payment processors is that Syncro is receiving a lucrative kickback. What kind of kickback is Syncro receiving from WorldPay? And so I would love to assure you all that there is no lucrative kickback from WorldPay in that we are holding off on adding ACH for. I promise you. Part of the reason ACH has not happened yet, as you all might remember, folks that have been here might remember, I came in last year, we did an initial survey out to our base to say, what are the most important things you want us to focus on? We came up with our top 10 list. We've been kind of chugging away at trying to hit those top 10. I sent out another survey this week to say, what's on your top list? I asked people to pick their 5 priorities. So we're prioritizing what we're working on. ACH hadn't floated up to the top of that list. That being said, it is a pain point for a lot of folks, and I know it does cost folks money to not be able to accept those types of payments. So you will see us add ACH to our roadmap this year in 2025. And so you will see it show up on the roadmap probably mid-year. and we'll start to work on it. So you'll have something in this calendar year to help you support ACH payments in different ways. So you won't be solely dependent on the WorldPay relationship if you're doing payment through Syncro. Right?
There's a question around, there's a lot of questions, so I'm
Yeah,
just
no.
read them all and get through ones to answer. Is there a way to have the AI steps on the ticket page remain collapsed unless needed? And then I saw a question earlier around, hey, is there a way for us to reorganize things on the ticket page? That's currently not on the roadmap, but it is something we've heard, and so something that I think we'll look into, but it's currently not on like the immediate term. But I understand how important it is to have the important pieces of your page that high priority. So we'll add it to the list and keep looking at it.
I got a question about the mobile app and like sorting for assets and people not being happy with sort order. I've heard similar on tickets in the mobile app. I will say Bobby is behind the scenes and on this call, and I know he is, making the roadmap of mobile app update changes, and I believe looking at sort order for those and adding some more options and making the defaults more popular and useful is definitely on his short list of things we are adding to the mobile app.
Are there any plans to add a secondary sorting criteria or add grouping as a separate option for ticket views or reports? It would be nice to be able to hide and ignore ticket number, sort by assigned tech status and alphabetically at the same time. Right now, no, I don't think we have plans directly there, but I'm going to pass this along to Rob, who's been diving very deep into the ticket page and wanting to help in all ways there. So I'll see if this is something that one of the big things that we've been working on the engineering side and across the board is standardizing a lot of our designs. So you'll have noticed a lot of the tables should look exactly the same as we implement new ones. So if there are things that we can add directly kind of to that single component to make your lives easier, we should be able to see a lot of those things flow throughout most of the app. So I'll talk to Rob about that one and we'll see what we can do.
There's a question on our use of our knowledge base. Our doc center is hosted by Help Juice right now, and someone was asking if that's an expectation. I think I'm not really understanding the question. We use that to host our articles because it was just a good tool that provided a nice authoring environment and review environment and a searchable environment for our doc. Yeah, I'm not really sure what that's driving at. Sorry.
There's a question, any chance we'd be able to actively monitor customers' internet connections, including traffic usage, jitter, downtime, uptime? This is not currently on the list. I'd love to understand your use case and kind of what you'd be interested in there, but this isn't on the list right now. And then there was another question around spam. You can mark leads as spam, but what about submitted ticket sources? Or could you block specific senders or domains? I think this is a great idea of something that I know for our technical support team, we also get when someone comes in and creates a number of spam tickets, it definitely impacts our workflow tremendously. So this is a great idea. Well, something that we can look into, not on the list right now, but a really good idea.
Okay, great. We only have time for maybe one or two more. I'll grab one. Any plans to change the way custom fields are displayed on tickets? And I think, we talked about it a little bit, but we will plan to redesign that page. I know folks have mentioned the AI suggested resolution block, as well as custom fields, as well as the ability to configure the page potentially to meet your own priorities. So we'll look at a bunch of different options there throughout like later this year to figure out the best way to get that page to be more scannable is one of the things I've heard, just kind of generally more useful and more scannable for folks. And so more to come on that as we go throughout the year. Those are a lot of the more general questions we've gone through, and we are just about at the top of the hour. Hopefully we've had an opportunity to answer most of your questions. Thank you so much to everyone for taking the time to be here with us today. We really appreciate it. And to anyone that's hopping in and helping us out, whether it's talking to us, giving us feedback, working on early access, we really appreciate your time. We're trying to make Syncro, really work well for all of you, and anything you can share with us helps us to do that and meet your needs. And so really appreciate it, and hope you all have a great rest of your week.
Yeah, thank you all for joining. Really enjoy getting all of your questions, and sorry we weren't able to answer absolutely all of them. There was a ton of them that came in, so thank you all for the
Did our
questions.
best. Take care all. Thank you.